A very good evening to you all. My name is Dante. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and we are doing some Fly UK operations on this very short video. It's going to be kind of like a mini tutorial. If you are familiar with the Airbus series aircraft, it's just kind of a little refresher. So we're in the Fenix A320 Fly UK livery, and we're going from current location of Edinburgh to our destination of Belfast, Older Grove. Expected to depart in roughly 30 minutes from now, and our flight time is roughly 29 minutes. So literally the time between now and our flight is shorter than our actual flight. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty straightforward, very straightforward flight actually. That's all from myself. Let's get this show on the roll. Let's enter inside our flight deck. We are cold and dark here. Head upstairs, and we're going to do our pre-departure flow. So at night time, we're going to have the external power connected. We're just going to press a veil. So with our external power on, we can do our pre-departure flow. Which will be, let's just turn our dome lights on. We'll do, so emergency exit light will be on, those broken signs to automatic, nav and logo light to 1, strobe to auto, cruise supply on, control on. Cockpit voice recorder test, hold it, we hear a beep. Yeah, it's good. Turn on our batteries as well actually while we're up here. Nav and AD 1, IR 2, and Air3, so 1, 2, 3, or whichever order rental systems are live. So while that's doing that, you can go to EFB settings if you want to get your sim brief set up. Just go Phoenix, tap to import sim brief, and load the aircraft, boarding and refueling. Alright, while that's doing that, engine 1 fire test. Engine 2 fire test, and our AP fire test. Wonderful. Check the tech log, make sure there's nothing wrong with the aircraft, which there is this, but that's fine. It's a pretend tech log. Right, now you've got this, we'll reset to local QNH 1006. You can just do that by pressing the button. Right, now what we'll do is we'll do some pre-flight planning. So we'll head over to init, and we'll just do an init request on this side. We'll press ATC com, which will just open up the ATSU ALC menu, receive messages, load sheet, and this will be our load sheet. That's just my Skytrack recorder. Right, I shouldn't have accepted that, but it doesn't matter, we can still leave it up. Flight number today is, we'll attach a tug now actually. Flight number today is Skybase 613. Cost index is 25, and our flight level,
hello Captain, we are ready for pushback.
This short flight is flight level 160. Next page. Zero fuel weight is 58.2. Center of gravity is 31.2. Our block fuel is
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
from our EFB is 5.1 tons of fuel. 5.1. Flight plan. Out of Edinburgh today, we're going to be taking the I'll just put my flight plan for you. So look, Gotham 1 Charlie on runway 24.
Locking gear.
And that's our route. Our arrival into Belfast is runway 25. Alice 25, no star, no Vias. And what we're actually going to do is from our final waypoint of Blacker, we're going to just proceed direct to the centre of X. Why? Because it's quicker and the airport's empty, it's late. It just tidies up our approach, just gives us 28 minutes. We'll factor in the winds now, so we're just going to press wind request. And when the winds come through, then next phase, there's our cruise winds, there's our descent winds. This is a flight time of 30 minutes. And yeah, we'll set our stop altitude, which will be 6,000 feet. I'm going to fly via the SID. If we just head over to here, Navigraph, here, and start, and the departure. Have a look. So we're taking this departure today. So yeah, the stop altitude is 6,000. So we're going to go fly to 6,000, and then once we're past Gotham we can climb past 6,000. However, it's late, so we'll simulate as if there's not much air traffic. You'll be cleared up to a higher flight level. Okay, it tells you here. So max altitude is 6,000 feet, but expect air traffic control clearance to cross Mavics at Gotham 1 Charlie or Cumbo Gotham 1 Delta at over flight level 100. If unable to comply, advise ATC before departure. So we'll be headed towards Mavics. So potentially we could say at or above 100. We'll pretend that air traffic control have actually requested that one of us. That's what you can do. Is we should be able to make that restriction anyways, but what we'll do is we'll clear all the restrictions on here. So in fact we'll just pretend that air traffic control just clears up to 6,000, and then we'll expedite our climb if necessary. Right, we are boarding quite promptly actually, and we are already fueled. Once you're refueled, seatbelt signs can come on. You want your flight deck door open for boarding as well, just to liaise with the crew, make sure everything's okay, and that and whatnot. Our equipment today, we do have CFM56 engines, which are my I don't really use these much in the sim, but they are quite nice to read, especially if you're flying with a controller. It can be quite easier to read them because they've got an N1. However, I've got a setup so I can just use my throttle and whatnot. We'll grab our departure performance. So just a quick one just to show you we are out of Edinburgh. We're going to taxi to runway 24. Now we've got the option of using intersection Charlie or Delta. I'm going to plan for Charlie. So we'll sync a load sheet, we'll turn our packs on, and we'll do optimum config, and we'll do view intersection data here, and we'll plan for Charlie. So we can do a flaps 1 departure. I don't like flaps 1, so we'll do a flaps 2 departure. I always prefer flaps 2 and try to use flaps 2 whenever possible. Thrust reduction altitude is 1,600 feet. But we'll check to make sure we've got no noise abatement procedure. So Navigraph, all in Edinburgh, and depart. It'll be ground charts, won't it? Airport briefing. Let's see. Noise abatement. So it says there's something to do with noise abatement here, so we'll just use any noise abatement, yeah. So it's just basically stay on the SID for noise abatement. Yeah, so just basically stay on the route. Now since we are quite late, I'm also going to do I do an NADP2 or NADP1? I'll do an NADP1. So for that we're going to press the we're going to press slash 3100, which is 3000 feet above the ground. It's just that, that's the altitude we accelerate. So that's our thrust reduction altitude, that's our acceleration altitude. Right. This boarding actually quite quickly. I'm going to just get my APU started a bit early. So master switch. Wait until that turns green. It has. Hold. Start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. AP should start up now. I'm actually quite early, and they've boarded us quite promptly actually, which is really good. We've got our ADIS as aligned. And this is just to confirm, we're climbing to altitude 6000, not flight level 060. There's a big difference. If you're cleared altitude 6000, you keep your QNH at local. The moment you're clear to a flight level, you reset. You go from this to standard, and you just pull. However, we're not, so we're going to leave it on local QNH. Can switch over to our AP. We can switch over to our APU power now. AP is powering the aircraft, and we'll just set a squawk of, I don't know, 3254. And we'll pretend that's what air traffic control have given us. Predictor wind shear on. We'll turn our integral lights all the way up as well. All the way up. A nice little reference there. Yeah, normally you'd wait 3 minutes, but we'll just pretend that we don't have to. APU bleed can come on, and we'll turn on our electronic pumps, our fuel pumps on now. Once boarding is complete, we'll do a quick scan of our load sheet, and then we'll be ready to push back. Which does look like boarding is complete. We'll wait for our final load sheet to come through. There it is, boarding's complete. Should have the second load sheet come through in the next few moments. There we go. We've got our load sheet, it's been sent to us. So we'll just go to our init-B page and just cross-check over there. So 58.2 on our zero fuel weight, that's fine. Zero fuel weight center of gravity is 31.2, which it is. Our block fuel is 5.096, 5.1. That's fine. We can accept the load sheet, and we are ready for push and start. Really early as well. We are 17 minutes ahead of schedule. Normally we'd ask the air traffic control for push, and they will tell us you have an on-time slot, you're not going anywhere. But no, air traffic control have been extra nice, and they said, yeah, yeah, you can depart when ready. There's not much traffic either side. Go for it. Beacon light's going to come on, and we will tell cabin crew, right, we're coming. See you on the ground. Door. Let me see as well. We'll make sure that door is locked. Continue our push back here. I'm going to face nose right.
Release parking brakes, please.
Right, we'll kill our parking brakes.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Now the difference between these engines and the CFM engines and the IAE engines is that the IAE engines, you need to actually let them do a dry crank. We don't with the CFM engines. So we'll just set engine mode to ignition start, and we'll start engine number 1 as per the new Airbus SOPs, and we'll set our chronometer on this side. Not really monitoring the N2 dry crank. It should just swear to life.
Gentlemen, please observe the cabin crew member closest to you as we are about to demonstrate the safety features of our Airbus A320 aircraft. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard our Airbus A320. Please pay attention to illuminated signs and crew instructions, including the following safety procedures. The safety contains important information about exit routes, oxygen masks, life jackets, and the brace position, which you must adopt if you hear brace, brace. There are 8.
So we've got a good engine start on engine number 1. We'll start engine number 2.
Please be aware that
Barking
your
dog.
nearest usable exit may be behind you. Emergency lighting will guide you to an exit. In an emergency, leave all baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and
Please set
released
parking
as
brake.
shown. It must be fastened whenever the seatbelt signs are on, and we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally. Hold the mask. Pull on each side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others. If we land on water, take a life jacket
Unlocking
from
gear.
under your seat.
Alright, so we've got 2 good engine starts, and we can do our after start flow. So we'll leave that timer running. That's fine. Engine mode selector 2 normal. Speed brakes up and trim. Go to the perf page. Our trim is
Tow truck disconnected.
down
Bypass pin removed.
0.3, and that should be 0.3 in there. We'll kill our APU, so APU bleed off, APU master switch off. We'll dim our dome light as well to off, so we don't need your auto brakes to maximum, and
Safety on board can be found in the in-flight
Flaps too.
magazine. We hope you have a great flight. Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be dimming the lights.
flight control check. So full forward, full back, left and right. There we go, and rudder full left. You can check on here, and full right. Wonderful. First officer would do his side as well. Nose light, turn off, kill the parking brake. There we go. And we'll just do a nice, looks like we need a bit of breakaway thrust. You can just do a nice slow taxi. So obviously we'll do a quick recall. Recall normal, speed brakes on, flaps config to green, config to blue, rudder trim is reset, and taxi lights, nose lights on before, before taxi checklist is complete config check. We'll wait for a cabin secure. Right, so yeah, we've got quite a lot of not a lot of momentum. Right, so we're just taxiing out towards the runway as per usual. I'm gonna just make sure that my things are interlinked as well. Yeah, my barrel, that's all sorted. Alright. take this left here so we can make Charlie intersection. I like listening to the sounds from the wings, as you can really hear it as a passenger would. And keep my taxi speed nice and slow. Cabin's ready, wonderful, that's nice and quick. Well, pretend we've been given clearance to take off. So what we'll do is we've been given clearance to take off. Strobe lights can come on, landing lights we can turn them on. It's like, we'll just put our brakes here. Cabin crew signal that we're going to enter an active runway. And transponder to TARA. Oversteer there. And do I do a rolling takeoff? I'll do a rolling takeoff. Keep it moving. Chrono to time the takeoff, and our flight timer as well. Down to 10 knots on the turns. We're below 45 degrees. Clear. Well, you do what's called clear right, clear left. Make sure there's no traffic on the runway. Rolling takeoff. Just want to keep it moving. 40%, about 50% on the M1. No, slightly forward. We've got Manflex 51 SRS runway blue. Ready to maintain centre line. There's 100 knots, release forward pressure. V1, rotate, nice and easy, up to 10 degrees. Do next, yeah, positive climb, gear up. Do the PFD brightness a bit. Let's keep our airplane on the flight director. Just climb thrusts. I'm just going to put the automation in now as well. There's 3,000 feet, there's 3,200. Flaps 1. So above the S speed. And climb flight level 100, flight level 100, boom. So we'll go 100, pull it, just climb, open climb, standard QNH. We can also kill our turn off and our nose lights as well. S speed, so flaps up.
Today, full details can be found in your in-flight brochure. You can also purchase a selection of beverages together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept all major credit and debit cards. If we can be of any further assistance, just ask.
Right, with our aircraft in what's called a clean config, we'll kill our landing lights and we will disarm our speed brakes. And we'll do a recall. Everything's normal after takeoff. Checklist is complete. The aircraft flies, it does this zoom in a lot, chase plane. It's a flight level 160, flight level 160, which is our cruise level. Pull again, thrust climb, open climb. Estimated arrival is 12:07 minutes past midnight, so roughly 27 minutes from now. And this is we're good on our time. We can kill our timers with 5 minutes. We've already set climb thrust, we're fine. Everything's all good up here. And that is literally our route. Proceed direct to Fenix. We can do that again. We'll just simulate a shortcut, which air traffic control would quite possibly give you, especially on a times like this as well, because we're quite late. Left-hand turn. It says flight level 100. Seatbelt signs. We'll wait. I think I'm just now going to pitch for speed. We'll wait until this turn is complete, just for passenger comfort, and then seatbelt signs can come off. There we go. So there is us climbing all the way up to our cruise altitude. Lovely jubbly. It says flight 140, 2000 to go. That's the one thing, it's such a short route. Our top of climb is 42, our top of descent is 51, so we have less than 10 minutes at cruise. And there is 15,000, our flight over 150. We're 160, we've reached, so we're going to begin our descent planning. Right, so Belfast, runway 25, 2204, distance 106 nautical miles, fuel on board will be 3.9. We have 3.4, well 4.3, and we're going to burn 0. Actually we'll round this up to 4.4 just so we have a heavier weight. Oh no, okay, now we'll say 4.3, 3.9, that gives us 0.4. 4.3 minus 3.9, 0.4, take away 62.5, 62.1 is going to be our landing weight, so we're going to go arrival Perth, apply meta, 62. No, 62.5 is now 62.1. Sure, that's it. Let me just double check. So 3.9, 4.3, so that's 0.4, 62.1, yeah. So we can get away with low auto brake, idle, no reverse, flaps full. Yeah, so we'll do a low auto brake. Perth, next phase. Local QNH is 1008. Local temperature is 14 degrees. Speeds are 260 up to 7. And then our minimums, if we go into our Navigraph, Edinburgh, Belfast, ILS 25. Minimums is 468. That's it. That's that done. Oh, there's an airport right in front of us. I'm guessing that's Prestwick, if I'm correct. That is Prestwick. That's right in front of us. And yeah, so that's interesting. Have a look at our plan. Just zoom in. You can just see that's literally our route, so it's literally straight in. I can say air traffic control have been nice. It's not very busy, so they've said proceed direct to Blacker. Again, at night time, you're very likely to get shortcuts. City right in front of us, and that city is the city of I think that's Ayr. That's right in front of us on the terrain map as well. So yeah, that's Scotland. There isn't much water actually between these two countries. They're closest. So that white line represents the top of our descent, and so we want to begin our top of descent around about around about 5 miles out. So if we zoom in, when our white line reaches here on the 5-mile range ring, we can begin our top of descent. Just gives the airplane a bit of extra breathing room. However, if air traffic control do say, yeah, you know, you can go in, you can begin your descent a bit earlier. You can begin your descent a bit earlier. There is no harm in that. So we have approximately 17 minutes to go, so it's not very long. Again, this hasn't been a very long flight, and it just shows. Let's look at my stand actually. Stands 15, 16, 21 to 22. Which stand do I take? We'll take stand 16. In fact, we'll take stand 22. Jet bridge stand. It's crazy how good the lighting is. You cannot see anything except the strobe light flashes from the wing, which on the Airbus aircraft you can actually behind the wing. Because of where the strobes are located. So again, that top of the descent is coming in a bit closer, so I'm just going to zoom in here. You can see it's just getting a bit closer. And we'll descend, well, you can really descend down to platform altitude, which you have a look at here is 2,500 feet. Now if we're going down to 2,500 feet again, as we're clear to do it, oh. There we go. 2,500 feet is an altitude, not a flight level. So we'll descend down to 2,500 feet, setting the local QNH, which is 1008. I'll do a quick procedure on the quick demonstration on the slowdown procedures as well on the Airbus aircraft, just so you can get a nice stable approach. You don't have to worry about your speed running away. Because when I first played Flight Sim, this was one of my biggest issues. I could never manage the speed correctly coming into land, and I'd always come in far too fast, or I'd slow down far too early. So there's the top of the descent. We can initiate our descent now, so we'll just press the right stick in, right click it in, and that should initiate top of the descent. This green dot, we want that here where the yellow dot is, where that yellow line is roughly. The yellow line represents our plane, the green dot represents our glide path. We're at the minute descending below our glide path, which is as expected. So allow the aircraft to just kind of slow down a bit. We'll descend at 1,000 feet per minute, and we'll always descend at 1,000 feet per minute until this vertical deviation here, which represents this green, which is also represented by this green dot, starts increasing, or that dot starts to come down. At the minute, vertical deviation is decreasing because that's a minus. And once we catch it, it will start increasing. So we're clear to an altitude, we'll just push in as well the QNH, and that vertical deviation is just going to increase. You can see our vertical deviation is now decreasing. Now increasing, sorry. And you can see this green dot is dropping as well. Which means that when that green dot eventually heads back to where the aircraft is, the aircraft will pitch down to stay on it. Proceed direct to the centre fix as well, will be cheeky. So look, that the green dot suddenly dropped, and now the aircraft has to pitch down to get back onto the green dot. Its speed will increase as it will be allowed to, and then there we go. We've caught back on the path that we want. I'm also going to turn on LS as well. It just represents the ILS. Again, I like to be very ahead of the airplane. Just so I can, again, get the aircraft config nice and early without having to sacrifice too much speed. I like to get my landings in nice and quick, but I don't like to sacrifice too much speed as well. Now, when you do your landing lights, it's purely your discretion, as with your seatbelt signs. However, for me, I always like to do 10 minutes of landing, as like similar to my company. 10 minutes of landing is the standard, which is now actually, so 10 minutes to landing, cabin crew 10 minutes to landing, you would say. Just gives the cabin crew enough time to really secure the cabin. You can also do your seatbelt signs 15 minutes out or at 15,000. Some airlines do that. You can also do 20 minutes as well, especially on longer flights. Seatbelts are usually 10,000, but then some airlines do 18,000, which is the transition level in America. Anyways, we need to bleed off some speed as we're a bit high now, a bit high in speed. So I'm just going to deploy my speed brake. Now we're on an A320, so we can only do speed brake up to 50%, believe it or not. Now that is unless you disengage the autopilot. So if your speed is really cooked, you can use full speed brake and disengage the autopilot. And I have had this where the pilot has done this before, because air traffic control just gave them a crazy shortcut, and they just they just deployed full speed brake, disconnected the autopilot. I heard it from the flight deck just behind me, and I was like, the autopilot disconnected quite early. And then I heard it disconnect again. I was like, ah. And I asked the captain, he said that's what he did, because air traffic control gave him a shortcut. And his distance out is 29, so this is how you manage your speed. Again, this is my kind of speed management. So that's our distance there in nautical miles. When that gets to about 20, I like to be at 200 knots. But I like to start slowing down to 200 knots. And I want to be at 180 by 10, 160 by 5, and landing speed as soon as, well, after 5 miles out. Now, once I get to 10, I'll start using your distance here, that's on this side rather than on this. But once we get to 20 nautical miles out, again, I'll show you. I like to use managed speed as well. You can also let the aircraft decelerate for you, especially. Again, it looks like we're struggling to bleed off speed here. I'm just going to use speed brakes for speed. 50% should do. I just let the speed brakes just control my speed. There we go. It should. It will tell me off if I'm struggling too much. Maybe I'll go 20. Maybe I'll go 25% speed brake. Again, we'll wait until 20, and then we'll pull our speed, and we'll start. Let's say we're cleared onto the localizer, so nice and early. Cleared onto the localizer. We're just clearing ourselves early because we've got no air traffic control to tell us like, oh, you're not cleared to localize just yet or whatever. We'll say air traffic control have cleared us onto the localizer. Usually when you do that, I will turn my turn-offs on. However, no got our flaps out yet, which is my standard, like my lights. Anyways, there's a localizer core, and we're about 20 miles out, so cabin secure. So speed 200. Now, once your speed on this aircraft drops below 220 knots, in fact, I'm sure this is the same for the all Airbus A320 family. So once your speed drops below 230, you can add a notch of flaps. See, look, we've gone above profile now. So 230, flaps 1. And I'm also going to add the landing lights now that flaps 1 is out. We're also in clouds. Look, I can't see, but there we go, we're in cloud. So that's just giving us a good indication. What's that outside air temperature? Plus 14. We don't need icing, we don't need anti-ice, so we're not worried about ice. Still quite high on profile. Vertical deviation is at the moment 9, so I'm going to add a lot of speed brake now. 50%. That blue line, that blue dot represents, well, that blue line there represents where we're going to end up at our current rate of descent, where we're projected to end up, and that represents when we're expected to get back on our glide path. We're actually doing well because we're above the glide slope, so I'm actually going to kill my speed brake. I'm going to descend at 1,000 feet per minute, as we'll say we've cleared the ILS. I'll descend at 1,000 feet per minute, just let the aircraft bleed off speed, and also to maintain a continuous descent approach. And now that we've got us up, I'm going to turn my turn off on my approach. I would send out 500 feet per minute. Distance out over here is 14, so we're still good for speed. 500. There you go, we can see grounds. I'm going to kill my dome lights here as well. And reduce speed 180. So we're below 200. We can now add flaps 2. Can't really see much, but I tried to get a wing view for the flaps for you. There's now flaps 2. We can now arm our speed brakes, and we'll leave it at flaps 2 now until we are 5 miles out. Again, we could use the 5-mile range ring. We can also use the this as well as a guide. And we'll now stay at 180 now until we reach 10 DME. We'll go to 160. Bless me. Again, this landing technique is completely different to the 737s, which you can do in another video, as the 737 is a bit more, I'd say definitely more of a slippy aircraft than the Airbuses. And anyways, there's 1.4, there's 10 miles out, so we're going to set speed 160. Again, the aircraft will decelerate, and we'll wait now until about 5 miles out. There's our runway. But yeah, the 737, the standard gear procedure is at 4 miles, gear down, flat 15, and you can realistically make it from speed 180 knots to flat. Well, actually, that's kind of my preferred approach. Airbus, I'm a bit more slower on the speed. The 737, I'm actually quite quick on my approaches, unless of course I've got a restriction by air traffic control, which in that case I'll just be a bit more proactive. Anyways, we'll just check our chart. Missed approach altitude is up to 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet we'll just set in our FCU. This is called an FCU. On a Boeing it's called an MCP. It's a big difference. Company message, we'll just have a quick read. It's probably just something. It's probably just our delay message. No delay required, but that's fine. Anyways, since we're approaching 5 DME and we're 5 miles out from the runway, if you can just have a look here, about 5 miles. We'll now kill our speed. We'll let the aircraft manage the speed for us, and we'll just let the aircraft come in. We'll say we've got clear to land, so when you're clear to land you can just turn your tacks. You're not like to take off. It's just kind of like as a reminder. And then about 6 miles, we'll wait until 5, just to keep the speed as high as we can. I'm zooming in as well, just so I can get a nice view of there. So it's just going to turn my signs on. I must my Stokey signs all the way on. Leave them on, that's fine. Anyways, it's 5 miles, so gear down. It's for the thump and flaps. From this speed you should be able to go below 177. You can go all the way flaps 4. Below 182 I think it's flaps 3. VAP is 137 now. It's not seemed to engage our VAP speed, so I'm going to set it manually to 137. We'll go for 140s. That's a bit close to our stall speed if we have a gust of wind or something. So now we're configured for landing. When do we kill our autopilot? Well, I like to do it at 500 feet. However, you have a visual on the runway. You can whenever. So, my airplane, nice and early. If you're flying on the line, you will probably kill your autopilot just a smidge later. probably because you'll be flying all the time and you've had a busy depart, you have a busy approach, or maybe your speed's bleeding away. I don't mind hand flying a bit early. So we're just above our glide path, so I'm just going to pitch down gently. However, I'm staying on the poppies. I've got 2 reds, which is what I'm looking for. Well, to maintain a 3-degree glide path, you want your ground speed times 50. That's a good way to get a good descent rate. So that for us is roughly 650 feet per minute. Sending a bit quick here, so I'm just going to pitch up. That's fine. Continue. We've got 1 red. It's not ideal, but we've got 1 red.
200.
Let's get back on center. We'll just keep it descended. Keep it descending.
50, 40,
Start our
30,
flare.
20, retard,
Hold it off.
10,
Hold it off. Oh, it's a late touchdown. Smooth touchdown, but definitely late. Probably a mandatory go around, but we're on the ground. Idle reverse. I think because we've got so much stopping performance, I'm happy to continue the landing. Anyways, we're above 50 knots. We can cancel our reverses, and we'll let the auto brake do its thing. Yeah, we'll just cancel our auto brake and we'll take the next right. That was a very, I'll say, smooth late touchdown, but a good landing overall. We'll take this next right here, and I said I wanted stand 22, didn't I? Get GSX to just is that international up here? Let's stand 22. Just for letting you know. Let's reduce speed down to around about 10 knots. I didn't want to force my brakes and just cause a bit of brake heating by aggressively braking. We had more than enough stopping performance, as you could tell. It was a nice late rollout. Right, I'm gonna kill my speed brakes. Flaps all the way up as the temperature's below 30 degrees. We'll kill our landing lights and nose light to taxi. And once we get past this line here, we'll turn off our strobe light.
You remain seated.
We can also kill our flight time, which is at 30 minutes, well 31 minutes. However, considering the rollout, I'd say 30 minutes is more applicable. Anyway, so past this, that's a stop bar, so we'll set this off to standby. We'll also kill our strobe light now, set you back to auto, and we'll just taxi out to our gate. We'll cross the next runway 1735, the runway, so we'll turn on our strobe lights when we cross that runway, which just before we approach the stop bar here and after we cross it. Our landing rate was minus 138 feet per minute. That would have been a smooth touchdown for the passengers. So yeah, I wouldn't consider it a butter, but it was definitely a smooth touchdown. Passengers would have liked it. Flared a bit early, I think, and that was probably my problem. Side flaring a bit early. But again, more than enough runway, more than enough stopping performance to make the runway. So that's what factored in my decision there to continue the landing. And we had more than enough runway to execute a cancelled approach or a go around if necessary. Anyways, we crossed the stop bar again, so we'll just kill our strobe light and we'll just add some power onto it. Also, I'm going to, rather taxiing in actually, I'm going to just kill my flight directors, set altitude to 2900 feet. Now I'm going to start my APU, so we'll start APU master switch. We'll wait until that turns green there, where it does. And again, oh, wrong button there. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just tap my brakes there. Just come off centre line a bit. That's fine. I'm steering with a rudder, so it is a bit of a delay. Whereas if I use a tiller, but I don't have a tiller at the moment. Let the APU start up once I get around about 100%. I'm also going to shut down engine number. I know it's not a long taxi, but I'm going to shut down engine number 2, so yellow electrolytic pump and engine number 2 can come off. Anyways, we've got an APU start and we're taking this next left here. As we turn as well, we'll turn off our right, so we're about to turn, so we'll turn off our runway turn off lights and we'll let the aircraft coast in a bit closer, and then we'll turn off our taxi lights as we make that turn. Now I know we're a bit dark, but we can kind of see where we need to go, which is about there. Going on to one engine. So just need a bit more, but we'll just keep it nice and gentle. Again, there's no rush. We're well on time. We're not low cost operating ops as well, which means well, LTP is definitely important, but so we're flying as kind of like a legacy kind of model. We can just kind of be a bit more leisure, maybe with the time. Anyways, just try and maintain. Just try and get a good park in here now. Maybe potentially a Gangnam style if you get a perfect parking. A bit late on the parking brake. That's fine. I have an APU stop, so engine number 1 off. And we'll wait for that to drop below 6%. There's 7. There's 6. Upstairs, we can kill our seatbelt signs, we can kill our beacon light, we can turn on our dome light, we can also kill our hydraulic pump as well. And we'll head over to our EFB and just press T-board. And as a result of that, we can get our external power hooked up, kill our APU, master switch, kill our fuel pumps, and kill our ADAS as well. Now, we're not going to be doing another flight. We'll open up the flight deck. Oh, the jet bridge has just clipped through my plane. Hopefully to see. And we'll do a secure shutdown. We'll kill our block time here actually. So that gives us our flight starts. I'll just kill my I'll just submit my PIREP as well. So that gives us a block time on this flight of, let me just head to wing view, in fact outside view for you guys. So just a bit of the flight metrics. So block time was 43 minutes, air time 29, and a landing rate of -144 feet per minute, with a landing G-force of 1.05 Gs. Fuel burn was roughly 1.5 tons, and we made it all the way up to 16,000 feet. Now, if you want to listen to a bit more of the in-depth stats, I use an app called MyFS Flights for this, which just kind of tracks your every little detail really, all the the analytics of my flight. I'll just read them out to you while you just get these lovely scenic views. I'll just do a quick read out. This is kind of like just a flight review. So the flight began with the Airbus A320 taxiing from the parking area to the runway at Edinburgh Airport, taking approximately 6 minutes to cover less than 1 nautical mile. Departure roll took place on runway 24 with the aircraft lifting off after a distance of 1,000 meters, which was 47% of the runway length. Liftoff speed was 145 knots, and the local weather conditions at the time were a temperature of 15 degrees centigrade and a wind speed of 11 knots from a direction of 250 degrees. As the aircraft climbed to a higher altitude, it encountered a crosswind of 2 knots and a headwind of 11 knots. The en route climb started overhead Newbridge, a city in Scotland, and the aircraft ascended from an altitude of 1,128 feet above sea level to 15,883 feet, an increase of 14,705 feet in just 7 minutes, covering a distance of 29 nautical miles. Following the climb, the aircraft encountered a level cruise, which lasted for 7 minutes and covered a distance of 44 nautical miles. This phase of the flight took place 1 mile southwest of East Kilbride, a town in South Lanarkshire, Scotland. The en route descent then began 8 miles south of Girvan, a town in South Ayrshire, Scotland, and the aircraft descended from an altitude of 15,526 feet to 1,548 feet, a decrease of 13,979 feet in 12 minutes, covering a distance of 47 nautical miles. Final approach to runway 25 at Belfast International Airport was made from the northeast, with the aircraft heading in a direction of 245 degrees at an altitude of 1,302 feet above ground level, 4 nautical miles away from the runway. The landing took place on the runway with a length of 2,766 meters, and the threshold height was slightly above target at 57 feet above ground level. The threshold speed was also slightly able to target at 140 knots. This is where my FS flights still struggle. It sometimes assumes I'm in general aviation speeds. The touchdown point was 653 meters beyond the touchdown zone, but the touchdown speed of 124 knots was good, and the touchdown rate was smooth at minus 140 feet per minute. The runway touchdown position was slightly misaligned by 5.1 meters from the center line. Local weather conditions at the time of landing were a temperature of 15 degrees Celsius and a wind speed of 8 knots from a direction of 240 degrees, with a crosswind of 1 knot and a headwind of 8 knots. Total landing distance was 1,951 meters, which was 71% of the runway length. Runway rollout alignment was very good, and the aircraft was able to taxi to the parking area in just 5 minutes, covering less than 1 nautical mile. Total flight distance was 128 nautical miles, and the flight duration was 13 minutes, with the aircraft using 1,482 kilograms of fuel. That's my review done. So we'll do a little shutdown secure. So once all passengers are off, we'll just do a quick hopefully it doesn't take too long. Okay, we'll just kill the passengers. Okay, everyone's off. Okay, we'll do a quick secure. So what we'll do is we'll set everything into the off position. Nav lights, we'll leave them off as well. Batteries can come off, leave the external power on, and no smoking can stay there as well. Transponder, we'll set our transponder to 2000 standby, and yeah, from there external power we can disconnect, and it does. We're cold and dark again, and that is that. Now, more than likely, when you're actually on base, you'll just leave the aircraft with the external power on. Cleaners will come, they'll do their thing, and yeah, and do their thing. But that's all from me on board this Fly UK flight. So I do hope to see you again in the near future. Thankfully, I should have more time to record more videos. It was a pleasure flying with you today on this very short flight. That is all from me. Goodbye, and I'll see you next time.